Are you isolating yourself from the world, or do you feel that maybe the world is just a really isolating place? Well, it might feel that way because we're really in this peak time, kind of breaking down, having breakdowns, these old coping mechanisms around isolation, ultimately so that you can have the breakthrough that you really want to see in your life. Hi, my name is Nancy Rebecca, and my website is intuitivemind.org. And every single week, I give these talks about the health of the human energy field. And as a clairvoyant, psychic, healer, intuitive psychic development teacher, I share with you my 25 years of experience about what I notice in the energy field. And this time that we're living in, right? We're moving from more of kind of a 3D physical realm where there's just a lot of stress, and we're kind of making that shift into more kind of coming from that fifth dimensional perspective, which is the spiritual perspective. I'm not quite seeing that these words are anything, what's happening is anything new, because we've been experiencing challenges between spiritual expansion and physical resistance for the whole 25 years I've been doing this. But now we've kind of changed the names. The 3D world is the physical world, and the 5D world is the spiritual world. And so I'm talking about this month, we're really letting go of some old kind of survival coping mechanisms to help us deal with life. And there's a variety of reasons why we kind of created these energetic systems to help us kind of function in life. And now these systems are kind of considered old and outdated. They're breaking down so that new systems can kind of take their place. I mean, really, think about 20 years ago, 23 years ago, when maybe the first kind of IBM computers came onto the stage. I was just watching a film the other night, a really great film. I'd like to share it with you, but I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, it's this woman who wants to be a writer, and she's working on these old typewriters, and then she kind of graduates to this old computer, and I was like, wow, was that just 20 years ago? And now here we all are carrying our iPhones around, and we can do all this on this little tiny microchip. So it's kind of like that with your human energy field. You're kind of letting go of these old archaic systems that just are no longer working. They're starting to kind of break down again so that you can spiritually move through into the vibration and frequency that feels a heck of a lot better. But right now, it doesn't feel really good for a lot of us. So I'm talking about isolation this week, and whether you isolate yourself from the world, and whether you have been used isolation as a way to cope with life your whole life, or whether it's a brand new thing for you that happened during the COVID pandemic that we're still kind of living in. Isolation is an energetic pattern in the energy field. So I'm going to be talking about the patterns, and I'm going to give you some helpful kind of spiritual energetic tips to get you through to the other side. Because not only am I a psychic, but I'm also a registered nurse. So the way that I like to work with my clients is to look at your aura, see if your aura is healthy, if it's not healthy, if it's out of balance, if there's a block of energy to the flow of your energy field, then that's the type of work that you end up doing with me. So let's kind of jump into it. So, and as I said, there's different types of intuition that's going to be coming to the surface on the other side. The Spirit's been telling me the year of 2021 is the year that we really want to develop and start to trust our intuitive instincts. So my predominant style of intuition is through clairvoyance, meaning I can see energy fields. But each and every one of you have your own kind of intuitive dominant style, or you may have all those intuitive styles: clear seeing, clear hearing, clear feeling, clear knowing. So there's a lot of different styles of intuition. in strengthening your intuitive instincts this year is going to continue to serve you well. As a matter of fact, it's going to serve you very well. So the sooner you can kind of reach out, take some intuitive development classes, read more books on intuitive development, and start kind of paying attention to your life in an intuitive sort of way is really going to be your friend. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about fight, flight, or freeze as a coping mechanism, as a kind of a survival response to life. I talked in the last video about controlling our environment, or maybe others trying to control us as the way of coping. And then this is all about isolation. Now, one of the things, we've had our global pandemic, and we keep reading news reports that the next global pandemic is going to be mental health issues. What I know to be a truth, I don't know if this is true for everyone, but I know that all the people that I've been talking to, just to get in to see a doctor, there's physicians that might not be taking new patients right now, or if they are taking patients, letting you make appointments, it might take 3 months to get in. Of course, we know that the hospitals are really overflowing, at least here in the state of Washington that I live in. We're getting a lot of overflow. And I live right near a hospital, so sometimes I know on the videos you'll hear that kind of helicopter fly overhead. We're getting a lot of patients from Idaho that are coming in to our hospitals. So our hospitals are full, our clinics are full, and then a lot of my students and graduates have taken the psychic development courses, and they're starting to integrate intuitive psychic information into their therapy sessions with their clients. But even the therapists are starting to get a little bit tired. They're getting a little bit fatigued, maybe compassion fatigue, and to get in to see them is taking about a year. And then for healers, this is the other thing. My own schedule is full until February of 2022, and I'm trying to find other healing clinicians, healing touch people, Reiki people, psychic readers that work with the health of the energy field. And there's just a lot of people that are either A, they're really full, or B, they're not seeing people right now because why? They're all stressed as well. Now, what does all this tell you? What is it? How does it speak to you? It just says that, yeah, the society, the global communities, we're all kind of tapped out, right? It's like we've got to find some really creative ways to keep our head above water, and we really need more doctors and nurses and therapists, and we definitely need more healers. So I'm going to give a big shout out to all you healers out there that aren't seeing people. It would be great for you to start building up your clientele right now, because I believe personally that as we move into 2022, 2023, 24, 25, all the way up to 2030 and beyond, that making these quantum leaps in the energy fields is going to require people who can help clients make quantum leaps as a healer. So things are changing in ways that I didn't think that I would live long enough to witness it with my own eyes. So on one hand, yeah, it's painful, it's harsh, but on the other hand, really incredibly exciting. Spirit showed me, so as a psychic reader, my dominant style is clairvoyance. That means clear seer. Now, I, in particular, can see images with my eyes open. I can see your aura and your chakras. I can see your loved ones and things like that. A lot of people who are predominantly clairvoyant, when you close your eyes, you see a lot of visualization. That is a primary level 1 clairvoyance. Level 2 is when you can see with your eyes open. All right, bottom line is Spirit wanted to show me an image to describe kind of what's happening to us in this kind of 3D, 5D tango shift. And it was a perfect example, I felt. So in the 60s, we had lava lamps. I think lava lamps are making a big comeback. But Spirit wanted me to kind of express that how we're functioning right now is kind of like that lava lamp where the light is off, the liquid in the lamp is cooled down, and those little red, I think often they're red, maybe I've seen some green and blue, but you have these colorful kind of blobs that sit very inert at the bottom of this lava lamp. And so Spirit was saying that's kind of like we are right now, like our aura is feeling kind of heavy, burdened, maybe kind of wet or damp with emotion. We're feeling kind of inert, unable to kind of move out of our tracks. We're isolating more. We're kind of staying inside more. We're pulling inside more. So this is this isolation as a way to cope. And then what Spirit showed me was when you turn the lamp on, when you shine a light, remember the light comes into the lava lamp, that liquid starts to warm up. And so Spirit was saying that's kind of like for us, that the light, our own spiritual light, begins to illuminate our body. So when you bring through that illumination of your spirit, like through meditation or doing fun things that you like to do, things that help you to feel alive, doing artwork or baking or going for a nice run, sitting in nature. So anything that kind of helps you to feel alive is going to shine your own soul's light on the physical life that you have going on. So like that lava lamp, once the light comes on, it starts to warm up the liquid. Then what happens? That kind of inert blob of color at the bottom starts to float. As it starts to get warmed up, it starts to float, starts to kind of move around inside the lava lamp. And you may have several kind of what I call blobs of color of liquid, and it might change shape, but it never really merges with the other blobs. It's just kind of this beautiful dance that's happening, really comes alive and really engages and interacts. And that's really where we're moving from this third dimensional world of feeling maybe contracted and isolated to this 5D way of looking at the world that's much more vibrant, much more alive, that you maintain your level of individuality through your own auric energy field, and you are respectful and excited about other people. You want other people to express who they are, and that you can move through your community and move around. Everybody gets to be their own person, but you have these kind of common visions of as a community where you want to move forward. So this was a great analogy for the difference between isolation and starting to kind of socialize and engage with the rest of the world. Isolation energy. So as a psychic clairvoyant, when someone comes in to see me in my office and they may be complaining in the past, people who suffered from agoraphobia. So that meant that you can really struggle to want to get out of the house. It feels kind of overwhelming. It feels hard to be around other people. So for some people who are agoraphobic, they never come out. They don't even come out to go to the grocery store. So if I have clients coming in, they don't feel like they can kind of move out of their tracks. They're feeling isolated. They're feeling disconnected, agoraphobic, afraid to come out. Often the energy pattern that I see in the energy field is that they have pulled their aura inside their body. Now, if you take your arms, even now as you're watching this video, and you move your arms out, you wiggle your fingers, you kind of look to where your fingers are wiggling, that's about a healthy distance of your aura around your body, about 2 feet out above your head, below your feet, side to side, front and back. It's this nice kind of egg-shaped energy field membrane that brings in intuitive information and expresses intuitive information through vibration, frequency of the energy field. When someone is isolated, the aura gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and for some of you, you can literally pull it inside the body. And how a lot of people will describe to me how that feels is, first of all, you might have a lot of body pain. Why? Because the aura is not protecting you. It's like your aura is inside your body. So life, the energy field, energy that's moving through the world, it doesn't bounce off your aura because there's no aura to bounce off of. So what does it do? It kind of bounces off your arm, bounces off your head, bounces off your back. So you can actually have a heightened level of pain because you don't have an aura to create a barrier between you and energy that's moving past you. So some people will feel pain, people feel sluggish, super sleepy, they feel tight, feel contracted, so your aura can actually be like a wetsuit for scuba diving or swimming in cold water. It's extra tight against your skin. It's not expanded. Isolation, we can isolate because we feel overwhelmed by other people's emotions. That fight or flight is kicked in. So a lot of times we'll just really stay indoors. Now, when I was kind of asking the question of people on my Intuitive Mind business page on Facebook, some of the things that they were saying is that they will isolate if they're feeling overwhelmed with pain, if they're feeling sadness, depression, overwhelmed with their own emotions. If there's too many people around, it feels overcrowded. They really feel like they have to pull back. Life gets too busy. I call that overstimulation. I will often say, I'm feeling quite overly stimulated. I need to really pull back from other people. And also feeling overwhelmed. So there's a lot of variety of reasons that people will know why they want to isolate. But isolation is a coping mechanism. You can learn this as a child in the family growing up. So you might want to feel like you want to kind of isolate, especially if there's a lot of emotion, discordant emotion, chaotic, if there's a lot of drama, or if it seems like you might have a parent that's kind of projecting their stuff onto you. They might even throw energy. They might, have what I call trigger happy, kind of snap like that when they get emotionally upset, and you don't want to be the target of that. That as a child, you will tend to go into your bedroom to isolate. You'll close the door. It feels a little safer in there for you. But you also will make your aura quite small, so there's a sense of isolation and hiding. That you want to kind of fly below the radar in your family so that you don't get targeted. So these can be patterns. You can also take on the programming pattern from your parents. Maybe your parents had a hard time. Maybe you had your mother or your father that struggled to be out in the world, that they wanted to stay home a lot, that they didn't want a lot of people coming into the house. So you could have picked up those patterns from childhood from a parent. You may have learned how to isolate and hide yourself, make yourself really super small as a coping mechanism for trauma, drama, and crisis. And then the other isolating factors can be the environment, that your external environment requires that you isolate, like the pandemic that we are going through. So there's a lot of different reasons why you isolate, but this is the thing as a nurse and what I've observed as a healer, that the longer you have been in isolation, the harder, more challenging it's going to be to turn that around because it's deeply ingrained. Let's see here. And the other thing is not wanting others to see you. You don't want others to see that you're depressed, that you're having anxiety. So that can be another reason why you isolate. And of course, the COVID virus, people are incredibly frightened about getting this virus and getting sick. And so then will isolate so that they're not around others. So again, we have been going through an isolating time for an extended period of time. And so we need to be able to do some things energetically. I'm going to share with you some tips that I have to help you with this. But we are going to need to try to start socializing a little bit just to keep our energy field as healthy as it can. So we are raising our vibration and frequency, and these old coping mechanisms are breaking down so we can break through anything that slows us down from having the life that we want moving forward. Okay. So your aura. So I talked about one of the ways was your aura pulls inside of your body, and it can pull way inside the body, even down into the chakras, and the chakras can almost completely close down. But there's another reason why people will tend to isolate, and that's because the root chakra can be too wide open and your second chakra can be too wide open. So your root chakra is an energy center located between your hips. When it opens up wide, that triggers that fight or flight or freeze response. It kicks on the adrenal glands. It releases the cortisol through your energy system so that you can react to real or perceived danger. Now, right now, you might be doing pretty well, but with the virus out there, it can feel really dangerous. We've had our fires up here in the Pacific Northwest. And so being out in nature can feel too dangerous if there's fires around. So it can be a real danger, or it can be just perceived where you just feel like it's a frightening world. So that root chakra, you want to be able to close that down. And again, I'll talk about that more in just a moment. But the second chakra, what I have found for clients that have severe agoraphobia, meaning they just can barely leave their house, agoraphobia, often I will see the second chakra is wide open. Now your second chakra is located below your navel area. This is your emotional chakra. When your second chakra is overly opened, you can feel everyone's emotions around you. So being in a crowd, it's just too much. But even being inside your house, you can kind of take the emotional pulse of what's going on in the world. That's why a lot of people who have that second chakra wide open, you can't watch the news, you can't watch any movies that might have any violence in it, or maybe there's a lot of sadness or trauma or drama, that you can literally feel that coming out of the movies, out of the television show, out of the news. So often I love this because as soon as I teach the person who is suffering from isolating qualities to close down their second chakra, suddenly you can feel your emotions, but you can't feel anyone else's emotions. And often people then will think that I'm a miracle worker, that I've just done something magical. But I haven't. It's like, you've just put on a pair of shoes to go walking on gravelly rock. It's going to be more comfortable. So it's the same with this. You're going to close it down to help you to feel a little more comfortable. So, pulling in the aura and the first two chakras flying wide open can cause you to want to isolate. So even though I've had people say, yeah, if I have pain, I have depression, I have stress, I'm feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, I'm too busy, you energetically have the response of the root chakra, second chakra flying open, or maybe your aura moving inside your body, and then you physically make yourself isolate until your aura can calm down. All right, so I like to talk about this too because I'm doing this video. And in this video, when I'm talking about it, you might be listening and you might be going, she's kind of making this sound like it's an easy fix. And about 80% of the time, it is a pretty easy fix, just giving you the techniques that I'm going to share with you towards the end of this video. However, it's for about 20% of you, it's not going to be an easy fix. And the reason why is because let's say that in childhood, you had a parent that when they drank, they became violent. And so as soon as you see them reach for that bottle of alcohol, you might be a little girl, you might be a little boy, but you might go into your closet to hide and play with your toys in there. You might go lay in bed and read a book. You might go to your room. Maybe you'll leave and go to somebody else's house. So these are ways that you isolate to cope. As a little child, you may have pulled your aura in. You're kind of reading emotionally, taking the pulse of your parent to kind of see if you feel safe or not. So if you've had a pretty extreme isolating trauma response, then it's going to require several levels. It might require seeing your doctor for some medication to help you when you might feel triggered to go into fight, flight, or freeze. It might require talking to a therapist so that you can talk about some of those childhood experiences, and your therapist can help you come up with some healthy coping mechanisms to cope as an adult, or just validate how strong you've become as an adult and how well you do cope, so that when you get triggered into some childhood responses, you can remember that you have a lot of strength you're bringing to the game of life. And then the other piece is that energetic piece, where you want to have an energy healer help kind of expand your aura, get it in the flow. The energy healer might be able to kind of help you move some energy blocks out of your root second chakra so that it can relax to a more comfortable state. And reminding yourself of how old you are when you're feeling triggered to kind of go into that hiding, isolating mode. So why am I talking about all these coping? Let me just kind of remind you again, because as spirit, we are in a conscious awakening. We are in a spiritual awakening. We are expanding our states of consciousness. And as that's happening, these old coping, kind of outdated mechanisms might be not so helpful anymore as an adult. Like if you feel like running away and you're in the middle of a business meeting and you're presenting a paper or a project that you've been working on for 6 months, it's not ideal, is it, to suddenly feel overwhelmed? Your second chakra's flown open, your root chakra's flown open, and you feel like you need to leave and you can't present this project that you were super excited about. So these are some of the things that are breaking down. But there are other ways to cope with life, and those are some really healthy ways. Setting verbal boundaries with people, going for walks, being able to eat healthy foods, getting good night's sleep, taking salt baths, pacing your life with work and with play. So there's a lot of really healthy ways. Just telling people, no, we're not going to do it that way. That doesn't feel good to me. Let me get back to you when I have time to sit with this so that you can create some healthy boundaries in life. So just know that you're feeling this way because you're growing, and that is really exciting. You're growing, you're learning, and you're expanding. So yes, we're going to have a few of these little hiccups along the way. So let me just give you tips as I'm finishing up here about things that you can do to help break down some of these energy blocks, get you back into the flow so you can break through these isolating patterns and be able to start to kind of socialize in a healthy way again. All right, the tried and true techniques that I use on almost a weekly basis. This is how often I implement them in my life. So the first one I call fluffing your aura. So you know how a parachute is. If you've never seen a parachute in real life, it's very silky, it's very thin, it's very resilient, and so it can fill up with air. When the parachutist jumps out of the airplane, it can help hold you, support you, but slow your descent down to the earth. When a parachute is collapsed, it can fit in this little pack that goes on your back. Now it's like your aura is like packed in this little pack, but you're going to close your eyes and you're going to imagine it's this golden light parachute. And you're just going, you can literally take your hands like this if you want to, but you want to imagine expanding your aura. You can just close your eyes and imagine that you're expanding it. And so you want to expand it, make it really light, fluffy, fluff it out around your head, around your back, around the front, your arms, your legs, fluff it out below the feet, fluff it out to the right, to the left. So you want to get it nice and fluffed out. and then see how you feel. And then the reason why I want you to tune into how you feel is because when it gets contracted, you want to stop, take the time to fluff it out again. So you're kind of retraining your aura to remain in an expanded state. But another thing you can do is once your aura is expanded, you want to create a large ball of golden cosmic healing energy, or maybe you want to try another energy that you feel called to use. You want that to kind of rinse down through your aura with the intention that it's going to dissolve old, outdated coping mechanisms of isolation that cause you to contract. So you just let that go to rinse through that fluffed out aura to dissolve any old, outdated energy. All right, so that's tip number 2, cleansing and healing your aura. Tip number 3 is to close down your root chakra. So on average, a healthy functional size of the root chakra is about 2 to 3 inches across. You are in fight or flight mode if it's about 10 to 12 inches across. So just kind of tune in to yourself, kind of close your eyes, ask your spirit, how open is my root chakra right now? And then you just keep letting go, letting go, letting go of energy, and then intend that your root chakra calm down to less than 30-40%, about 2 to 3 inches across. So you want to calm that root chakra down. Bringing up more earth energy can help do that. Going out for walks in nature can help do that. Calm that chakra down. All right. Now, tip number 4, and the last tip, has to do with closing down your second chakra. So it's very similar. If your second chakra is open like a dinner plate, remember that's where you're going to be able to feel everybody's emotions. So you can put your hand right on your second chakra with the intention of just closing it down. Say, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, until it gets kind of closed down to about 20 to 40% as well. So the only way to learn how to do that is to just practice it. I tell you, my students and graduates all the time will tell you they didn't know when they first started, but they just kept practicing and they did it till they felt better. And you'll start to get really good at it to the point where you go, wow, my second chakra just flew open right now. I wonder why. You'll start to get that accurate with it. So we are always teaching about developing your intuition and enhancing it with precision. That's what intuitivemind.org is all about. So check out our website and all the events that we have coming up online. If you really like these videos and like these energetic teachings that help kind of expand the limitations of your mind or how you thought the world worked, you want to hear more, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click the little bell as well so that you get notified every time I send a video out. All right, thanks so much everyone for joining me. Next week I will be talking about the November frequency forecast. Can you believe, excuse me, not November, October, holy smokes. October is going to be a huge month as we talk about Halloween and All Saints Day, All Souls Day. So we've got some exciting portals opening up in October. So join me as I talk about the October frequency forecast next week. All right, everyone, take good care of yourself and safely get out there, adjust your energy field, pull up your socks and start socializing a little bit more. It's good for your health.